Hey folks, rinimt here, and welcome to Tiny Bunny. This is going to be weird and freaky. And thank you, Storyforge, for the code. So I have done some rebinding to make it so I can use controller, because I just prefer it for visual novels. I sometimes accidentally right-click a lot, so it just makes it easier for me so I'm not, like, nervous twitching. But let's go. I don't think there's gonna be many tiny bunnies in this, actually. The wind clawed at my window all night long. It wandered the fields and howled like a hungry beast. An endless long weave from all sorts of voices, shrill, gentle, sneery, twined in the air. They were shouting and laughing, and arguing about something. Someone was running through the snow while casting long shadows would occasionally creep close to my bed. Our house had a mind of its own, the creaky old mind of a building that had seen a lot in its days and was seemingly trying to share its wisdom with the inhabitants. The lonely house faced the forest, and the dark green thicket gazed back with its hollow eyes, rustling, whizzing, swaying back and forth. One could come out and stand at the edge of the forest to reassure themselves. There was nobody behind the crooked trees. Fuzzy silhouettes swayed in the wind. Fuzzy silhouettes swaying in the wind couldn't possibly do any harm. It's just a play of light and shadow. Just a play. I knew it was just my imagination. I was already 12, after all. Still. So I have also gone ahead and turned off the voices. I believe they're all in Russian, so I will just do all the voices for English myself. The owl will arrive. I have to actually click that? Okay. Fun. Hey, put away your book. How many times have I told you not to read at the table? It's bad for your health. Look at how slouched you are. Hide. Okay, I will only use the mouse occasionally. I didn't protest and put the book about Conan the Barbarian aside. I was stuck in a line I couldn't understand after reading it 3 times anyway. Olya had already finished her breakfast and was munching on some cookies. She was so enthusiastic, she almost looked like your typical girl from commercials. You're not going anywhere until you finish all of it. I, on the other hand, was still trying to drill a hole in the plate with my eyes, as if it would make the porridge disappear. Hazy anxiousness welled up inside, all because of the previous sleepless night, the black forest around their house, and the gloomy wind. The longer I waited, the colder the lumpy white substance became. It looked like a jellyfish from the Coastal Odyssey. I love that show. Wonder how horrifying the bottom of the ocean is, or how cold the black forest is at night. The spoon fell out of my hand. Mom showered me with a cold glare from her green eyes. What did I just say? I'll get it. I had 10 seconds to catch my breath before battling the nasty porridge once again. I felt around for the spoon. What is this, carved on the other side of the table? Karina. Hey, that's my mom's name. Guess she carved it out with something pointy when she was little. She sure was a rascal damaging the furniture like that. She would scold me for a week if I did something similar, though. Should I remind her about it? No, she's been in a bit of a bad mood lately. I imagined her being my age, sitting under this table. I wonder, was Mom afraid of the dark back then? The sounds coming from the attic, or the thick forest. I imagine my grandma coming into my little mom's room, sitting at the edge of her bed where Olya sleeps nowadays, and saying this in her soft, smooth voice. Taiga is a special place, little girl. It's watching you closely, sniffing you out, trying to discern what kind of beast you are. If you're a good sort, it won't abandon you in times of trouble. If you're a bad apple, it'll grab you by the side and drag you under the ground. And that would be it. Grandma was caring. She never fought with anybody, never yelled, never swore. Those were the times without the maddening screams until late at night, without smashed dishes and mutual accusations. Our parents used to love each other back then. I remember listening in on one of their conversations by chance. They were talking about Grandma getting prepared for her funeral. She had already bought the casket, and she called it her cute funeral box. It waited for its time in the closet patiently. It was black, upholstered with meat-colored material on the inside. Saw it when my grandma was getting buried. The house didn't change since the time she was alive. Only all of the photos were gone. Glass covered pictures with gray faces of my ancestors. They all had a dead but watchful look in their eyes. I crawled out from under the table. Olya was done with her cookies and was looking at my share with like a sly woodland critter. I turned my gaze towards the frosted window. There were a lot of dark pines outside, but they didn't grab my attention. The pattern of frost formed a picture on the glass. Olya, look! It's a fox. Where? It almost looked like those optical illusion things they put on the back of student notebooks. Is there? Glossary, menu, auto. Aha! The middle click. I will have to bind that one. I think I know I can bind it. It almost looked like, yeah, those student notebooks. A mixture of lines at first glance, but if you blur your vision a little bit and look under a certain angle. Not outside, on the window. Look, here's the nose, and here's... Hey, eat up! Yes, yes, just a moment. I don't see anything. Hurry up, there's not much left. Ah, there it is, but it doesn't look like one. And I'm telling you it does. Nuh-uh! It does! Stop it, these kids, I swear. No, I couldn't see the fox either. It disappeared. Went away. Only the frosty patterns, similar to stretched out nettle leaves, kept creeping up the glass. My dad entered the kitchen with long, measured steps. I want to have a beard like his when I grow up. Mom would always ask jokingly, "Come on, shave it off, it stings." This was so long ago. Nowadays, rumbling doors and witty comebacks were an everyday occurrence. Olya always covers her ears whenever she hears something like, "What's the point in all this?" through the wall. "It's all for your sake," Dad would reply. "For the sake of our family." I always caught every sound in fear of hearing the most dreaded, the deadliest word that started with a D. D-I-V-O. I didn't even want to finish it. It was scary to imagine that me and my little sister could be torn apart and taken into two different families. Anyway, your fox has nothing. I have an owl in my window. You and your owl talk again. You said you believed me just yesterday. Has anyone seen my car keys? Remember leaving them on the windowsill? Right. Maybe you did, maybe not. You're a grown man, a father of two, and still. Karina, please stop. Just let me get ready in peace. Your keys are in the basket near the phone. Well, thank you very much. Anton, stop making a martyr of yourself and finish eating already. But the owl! There was no owl. There was one! It had giant glowing eyes. Olya sprung up from the chair and placed her hand on her little face, imitating a pair of eyes with her fingers the size of an apple each. Last year you had a bye in your closet, now this owl. But I saw it! Olya shifted her gaze back and forth from Dad to Mom to me, but couldn't find any support. Have you thought about befriending it? You know, like feeding it with imaginary mice? Don't bully our girl. She's just afraid to sleep alone because she's still little. Olya pouted her lips in rebellion and rushed into the hallway. The staircase that led to the second floor creaked. Mom gave Dad a strict look. Oh, that look in her eyes. It's so uncomfortable to be pinned under it. Dad just snorted in reply and left, ringing with the keys he just found. A minute had passed and the theme song from The Little Mermaid echoed through the house. It was stored on incredibly worn-out cassette tapes, which Dad already had to glue together once. So easy to fix objects, by gluing them back together, for example. But how do you fix a relationship? Mom moved to the living room and I was left alone, anxiously stealing glances at the window. Olya had trouble sleeping ever since we moved into this house. I just like looking at the art. Also their potential thumbnails. She would toss and turn or curl up into a ball under her blanket. Sometimes she would jump up in the middle of the night and turn on the VCR. Cartoons helped to take her mind off all the troubles we had with the move and our parents. Oh god. And Oya said she saw that giant flying monster outside her window. She became obsessed with it. Our parents did everything in their power. They tried every little trick to get rid of those ridiculous fears. Oya refused to sleep alone and didn't believe that the owl was just one of her nightmares. After last night, I was unsure what to make of my sister's words, what to think of it myself. Can nightmares be infectious? That night, I couldn't get a wink of sleep and ended up thinking of what to expect from my new school. There were a couple of days left before the beginning of a new term. My imagination drew long, twisting hallways that led to a classroom full of kids. But all the students behind their desks were simply dark figures cut out using a template. Circular holes gaped in the middle of their faces, and pairs of eyes blinked inside those holes. It was as if some completely different creatures were looking at me from behind the flat black silhouettes. Their cruel glares, filled with icy sneers, made me shiver from head to toe. Will I survive here? Won't they gang up on me and beat me down, stomp on me with their bloodied shoes? The damn school can burn for all I care. I just wish for anything to happen to it. Doesn't really matter what. I didn't want to go there that badly. I didn't want to see people who were just itching to smack me on the head, trip me up, think of a new offensive name for me, worse than the previous one. I felt like the glasses I wore made me an outsider or some sort of monster. My gaze slid across the drawings hanging on the walls. I couldn't consider myself a great artist, but Oya begged me to hang them. Drawing was the only thing that made me happy as of late. A small circle of friends I had also enjoyed my paintings. They promised to call me from time to time. Sometimes I imagine Mom picking up the phone and saying in a cold voice, "You've got the wrong number," or "Anton is not around." Anton is not around. I imagine my future classmates lying in their beds, just like me, listening to the howls of invisible werewolves outside their windows. Maybe my new classmates will like me after all? But who would ever like a boy with thick glasses? I mean, my dad used to wear glasses when he was little, and now he's married to the most beautiful woman on the planet, my mom. The house creaked, pressed by the wind. The condo we used to live in, a 9-floor concrete building, buzzed with a neighbor's drill, mumbled with a TV set from behind the wall, cried like a baby from the big family next door. The current house, though I can't really call it new, was completely different. It was silent and easygoing during the day. Shadows lay dormant in the corners, on the closet cobwebs, and under the stairs. But they all woke up during the night. Something was watching me from every corner, almost as if the old photos of my deceased family with their ashen eyes were hanging on the walls in place of my drawings. The floor was squeaking, rusty drains were moaning, the attic was occupied by noisy drafts. One could think the house was performing some sort of demonic melody. And then I realized I was in fact hearing music. It was already playing for a good while. Somewhere at the edge of my perception, I could hear a flute. It was mixed in with the sound of the wind, of the old creaking house, and my thoughts too. I stood up and rushed to the window. I wanted to reassure myself that the music was nothing more than the product of my imagination. It's not like someone is playing it there amidst the cold, snowy night, right? Can I open? Someone was dancing in the field. Black silhouettes I could barely make out with a dark forest as their backdrop. They jumped around, basked in moonlight, bumped into piles of snow, rolled around and clawed on all fours. Stories about wolves playing under the moon came to mind, but these were clearly not wolves. They stood upright at times, circled around holding hands and whipping up snow, disappearing into the shadows for a brief moment and then coming back. I'm like reading ahead and second guessing if I read it right. Something bizarre was going on. Shadows dancing in the starless abyss made my imagination go wild, making me anxious at the same time. Suddenly, the music had stopped. The dancing shadows froze in place, and I could swear pierced me with their eyes. One of the silhouettes immediately parted from the bizarre shadow carnival and sprinted across the field with giant leaps. It glided on squeaky snow without leaving any prints until it was devoured by the pitch-black shadow of my house, which became even darker and thicker. My heart was jumping around like a bird inside a cage. So I shut the curtains with a swift motion and stepped back toward the bed. They saw me! A freezing torrent of fear washed over me. I stood in the middle of a perfectly dark room and listened to some unwanted guests move and scrape around looking for an entrance. The sound moved to the right and circled around the house. Now my guests should be at the front door. I jumped into the bed and covered myself with a blanket as if it could protect me. The shackles of fear locked my muscles. I remember the funeral, my grandma lying there, hands crossed on her chest, her facial features sharp like that of a tin doll. Ants running up and down the legs of chairs that held my grandma's casket. I imagine, oh god, imagine those little creatures climbing up her head and pulling up her eyelids with their tiny legs. Then her wrinkly eyeballs would once again move inside their sockets and she'd be able to see her grandchildren. I was chanting the spell she taught me throughout the whole procedure, and now lying under the blanket, listening to squeaks and howls, I was repeating the same words. On the aloe bouillon, underneath the blemished sun, in the sea of color blue, stands a cabin made of wood. There lay lard and ashen hair for the spawn from devil's lair to feast and always leave alone. God's faithful servant named Anton. Evil leave this house must. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Bizarre sounds had disappeared. I cautiously peeked out from under the blanket and saw curtains waving around like the hanged man. And then the night doused me with a new portion of boiling terror. The sound scratched at my eardrums. In reality, something or someone were scratching at the front door, hurriedly clawing at wood, demanding to be let in. The door was shut. Dad had become very cautious recently, so he installed this dirty lock. There he is. I remember him staring at the forest intently as if he was looking for someone. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I hugged my knees, placing my chin between them, and drilled the door with my eyes. It was so flimsy and weak before the might of darkness. And then the doorknob twitched slightly. And it turned halfway, once, twice, as if the person who tried to enter it had no hands. The doorknob tilted once more and then started clicking violently. My jaw cramped from fear. My wet fingers clutched the blanket. The door creaked and opened. The wind haunted me, moaning inside the tin drains. Now you'll see. The door was wide open. The darkness writhed inside the carnivorous mouth of a doorway. Tusha. It was as if the night itself was calling out to me, flapping its black wings and squeaking with rusty hinges. I was trembling and snared by the web of darkness that hung in the corners of my room, waiting for the one who weaved it to come out of the gaping black hole. Ooh, Tony. Abdomen tightened and my chest rose up, ready to exhale a desperate scream. But before I was able to do anything, the darkness asked me, Tosha, you asleep? My sister's pale face protruded from the thick shadows. I almost screamed from relief. Olya, I'm not sleeping. Did something happen? Olya frowned and stuck out her lower lip, a clear sign that she was about to cry. It's there again, staring at me. Show her away, Tosha, please. I'm so scared. The fear that was tormenting me just a minute ago crawled away and hid somewhere in my stomach. I needed to calm Olya down. It's just a dream, silly. Don't be scared. Dreams don't bite. No one's going to harm you. Olya sobbed. She was trying her best to believe me. But was I sure myself? I have an idea. Let's go to your room and watch the video Sleeping Beauty, for example. You like that cartoon, don't you? Why does the Sleeping Beauty have a prince and I have this scary bird? That question took me by surprise. Alright, let's watch Cinderella. My thoughts became tangled, fuzzy. What was that? It studied me with its eyes while dancing feverishly under the moon. The darkness was clinging to the window, and it couldn't be fooled by Grandma's old chants. It couldn't be satisfied with a feast of lard and long ashen hair. Tosha, are you coming? Yes, just a moment. Oh god! Okay. That's why I didn't want to laugh at Olya and her owl in the morning. Who could be visiting us here in the middle of nowhere? We don't know anyone around here. So persistent. I felt extremely unsettled just from a silly thought that our morning guest could have come from the woods. I could barely hear voices coming from the front door. My mind was urging me to hide. In the closet. Under the table. Behind the curtains, where Olya always hides. Tosha! Come here! I felt like kettlebells were tied to my feet, but still dragged them towards the hallway. A couple of policemen towered over me in the doorway. They smelled like frost and worry. Mom always winced and grumbled the moment she saw the patrol cars. Worse than bandits. At the moment, though, she looked somewhat confused. Hello? The senior officer, who wore a grim expression, nodded. My boy had gone missing yesterday. His name's Vova. Look at this, please. Have you seen him? Policeman held out a photograph to me. There was a ginger boy around the age of elementary school, pictured with a wall carpet as the backdrop. He had a striped cat in his hands and wore a wide smile. No, I haven't. Are you sure? Look closely. Where would I see him? I don't know anyone around here. I barely leave the house. Well, maybe you've seen him from the window. That's right. Your window looks straight at the forest, don't they? The window. No, I haven't seen anything. I see. He sounded tired, but his stare, long and heavy, was full of suspicion. I squirmed unwittingly under the weight of guilt which his giant shadow cast over me. The policeman finally tore his eyes from me and glanced over the hallway, the stairway, and the cracks in the ceiling, which I haven't noticed before for some reason. How do you like your new place, by the way? Getting used to it? Bit by bit. It's just our little daughter misses the city a lot. Misses the city, huh? Have the locals been treating you well? Yes, everything's alright, thank you. Policeman pierced through me one more time with his brown eyes. My head started spinning. Can I help you somehow? Asked that in a shaky voice to look like a polite boy and to end this unpleasant conversation sooner. Now that I think about it, you look just like one of my nephews, little fella. He's a witty boy around your age, wears the same type of goggles. Always engrossed in reading those mystery novels. Told me he wants to enroll in police school when his family visited this summer. Wanted to help other people just like me, see? I felt uncomfortable, as if a distant relative, not a police officer, stood before me. You know what? Little boys like you should stay at home, steer away from trouble. The times have changed so much. Mom interjected in a cold voice. You don't say. Well then, what grade are you in, Anton? 6th. Have you made any friends here so far? Not yet. I'll be going to school for the first time after the break. Then, I'll leave you my number just in case. Call me if you have any new info. The policemen were gone, along with their shadows, the smell of cheap cologne, and the picture of a smiling boy. His face still stood before my eyes. I wonder what it was like for him being all alone there. For some reason, I thought of the forest swaying in the wind. What did his poor parents feel? What would my parents do if I'd gone missing? Would they cry and thrash around hysterically? Or would they accuse each other like they always do and forget about me eventually? Mom, this Vova. Did he go missing in our forest? Seems like it. Poor child. Looked out the window at the road. The police UAZ drove off towards the village. Officer's nephew came to mind when I was splitting off old paint from the windowsill. Remembered all the teenage mystery novels from the Black Kitty series I've read this summer. Your average boys and girls investigate all sorts of mysteries there. They look for clues, spy on suspicious people, and after a set of amazing adventures, bam! Solved any complicated case. They became local celebrities and must have made their parents very proud. I noticed a trail of policemen's footprints that led to the forest, and then it clicked in my head. Why don't I start an investigation of my own? Maybe I'll find that lost boy. And I'll get a reward. Oya will be so happy. Not only Oya, Mom and Dad too. Maybe they'll even forget about their quarrels for a while? Maybe they'll even save us from the D word? Fantasize about buying Oya a Tamagotchi, getting a cassette player and a bunch of tapes for myself. And a whole box of Kinder Surprise. When was the last time our parents bought us any toys? Last saw them, I think. My dad had lost his job at the time. There's that annoying song about it. I had little to no idea what was the accountant's job like. They count money, I think? Neighbors used to envy us. But nowadays, Mom and Dad barely had money to afford sweets, and Dad would always divide a single chocolate bar between me and Oya. Sometimes I gave her my share too. No matter how much I wanted to eat sweets, she was still just a pipsqueak. I couldn't wait to go out looking for clues. I'm going outside. Yeah, right. You want the police to go around with your photograph next. Forest is so thick. What the boy got snatched up by wild animals or something even worse? Even worse echoed through the hallway. I won't go far. I'll stay away from the forest. Do you hear what I said, or should I repeat myself? Better go pack your school bag or play with Oya. The sound of splashing water came from the kitchen. It meant that the argument was over and Mom had the last word. Is there... Oh, things I can investigate? This cross had seen so many people come and go in this house. It was black, as if it absorbed all human sin from the long years it was hanging under the ceiling. After Grandma died, Mom was going to take it off and hang a horseshoe in its place as a lucky charm. But she cut herself with the cross's sharp corner and almost fell from the stepladder. Dad called a sign from above and ordered the cross to be left alone in its rightful place. Here and there. My parents prohibit me from making long-distance calls, but from time to time I really want to hear my old friends. Sometimes I would just pick up the phone, listen to the low hum of the zoomer and the distant crackling, imagining the wind howling in the isolating chords. Mom's peg top, a family relic. Mom played with it when she was little, then she gifted it to me. Olia was next in the succession line. The toy belongs to her now. She stared at the dancing spindle as if it could show her something, a fairy tale or maybe even our future. Now even my little sister was a bit too old for this old squeaky peg top. Got kitchen, front yard. Let's open this. The dark, stuffy closet. Mom says it smells like mice, but how would she know their spell? She hates when I stick my nose in there. She's afraid I'll cut myself on the freshly sharpened axe. And Olia can't even be lured to close it. She thinks Bye-Bye is living there. I tried to help her fight her fears once. I opened the door and turned on a dim lamp so she would see there was nothing but cobwebs, Dad's old tools, and scratched walls. She still didn't believe me. And I like to hide in the closet and listen to Olia count outside. 1, 2, 3, better hide from me. And then drag her feet on the creaking floorboards, hoping that she wouldn't need to look for me in the cramped monster's den. Go to the kitchen. Open. Open? Grandma kept ice cream for me and Olia there, but now I could only see the meat bits for soup and clumped together a pelmeni. I could hate them already. I can't do the look here. Turn back. Lie to Mom. It's difficult to lie to Mom, but there was no other way for me to run away from home. Mom, something's wrong with the TV. Picture is dim and there are stripes all over the screen. Mom's face became visibly distorted. Oh, you're killing me here. So you had enough of shooting those stupid... So have you had enough of shooting those stupid ducks now? Told you the kinescope would go dim because of your console. Where will we find a TV technician in this hole, huh? Maybe it's just the settings? Please go see for yourself. Strange, it worked fine in the morning. Maybe the snowfall caused it? Mom rubbed her hands clean on their apron and went to Olia's room. Okay, is there... Okay, I can look at a few things in here. There's no time for this. Mom will come back soon. Oh. I can't look now. Front yard. Had to look before. Opened the front gate and went to the field. Next time. thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider tossing a like, comment, subscribe. Maybe click the bell for notifications. Also, be sure to check out the description below, various links, social media, Discord. Come hang out. Get notifications there as well. And thank you again for watching. Thank you again, Serenity Forge, for the code. Until next time, this is rinimt signing out. Bye!